Good evening. Today we will discuss transitive closure of a directed graph. Let us assume that we have a directed graph G depicted here. So it is a graph G. It consists of 4 vertices: vertex 1, vertex 2, vertex 3 and vertex 4. Our assignment is to calculate the transitive closure of this graph G. So as you know that a graph can be represented either by using adjacency matrix or by using adjacency list. So assuming that we are representing the graph using adjacency matrix. So as the graph consists of 4 vertices, so the adjacency matrix will be 4 by 4. So there will be 4 rows and 4 columns. Fine. And some of the entries in the adjacency matrix will be 0 and some of the entries will be non-zero. That means either 0 or 1 in maximum cases of representation. So in this graph, the adjacency matrix will be 4 cross 4. So here I have not shown the adjacency matrix, expecting that you people can easily derive the adjacency matrix of this graph. So our assignment is to calculate the transitive closure of this directed graph. So for transitive closure, keep it in mind from the beginning, the main role played here is the concept of path. So if I say, is there any path between the vertices 3 and 4? That means, is there any path existing from 3 to 4? Yes, there is a path. 3 to 2, then 2 to 4. This is a path. So that does not mean always you will get the direct path. There will be a path consisting between 2 vertices, 3 and 4. But that may not be a directed path. That may be a via path. That means 3 to 2, then 2 to 4. Or even if you want to calculate the path in between 2 to 4, so there is a direct path, 2 to 4. And there also, there may be some via paths in case of other pair of vertices. Okay. For an example, there is a direct path from 4 to 1 also. So be careful for this transitive closure calculation. Your main assignment or duty is to trace or to identify if there is a path existing in between a pair of vertices I and j. So that's why I have mentioned the main important parameter here is a path identification. So is there any path from I to j? So the notation I to j, is there any path? Fine. So now transitive closure calculation also related to calculation of a reachability matrix. So if the graph is given, that means if the directed graph is given, our assignment is to calculate the transitive closure. That also implies we will go for calculating a matrix that is the transitive closure version of this graph, and that is normally called as the reachability matrix. So the dimension of this reachability matrix will be same as the dimension of this graph. Dimension of this graph means adjacency matrix version of this graph. So as the graph consists of 4 vertices, its adjacency matrix representation will be 4 cross 4. So definitely the reachability matrix will also be 4 cross 4. 4 row and 4 column. So now first row, that means we are at vertex number 1. 1 1, that means 1 to 1. That implies, is there any reachability from vertex number 1 to vertex number 1? So as you are at vertex number 1 and going to check whether it is possible that we can reach from vertex number 1 again. So it is like a self reachability. 1 to 1, yes, I am at vertex number 1, so I am already reachable at vertex number 1. So that means 1 to 1, the value is 1. That is from vertex number 1 to vertex number 1, yes, it is reachable. So that is why it is 1. Then go for 1 2. So vertex number 1 to 2, is there any path? So if you follow the graph, there is no path. I am not talking about adjacent, I am talking about a path existing in between a pair of vertices. So 1 to 2, there is no such direction found, either direct or via, so that you can reach from 1 to 2. So there is no path, so that's why the entry is 0. Now go for 1 3. 1 3. Is there any path from 1 to 3? No, there is no such path identified using which you can reach from 1 to the vertex 3. So that's why this entry is 0. So 1 4. So is there any path from 1 to 4? No. 4 to 1 there is a path, but there is no path from 1 to 4. So that's why 1, 4 entry is 0. Fine. Now come to row number 2. So you are at vertex number 2. So identify, is there any path from 2 to 1 or not? Yes, 2 to 4, 4 to 1. So there is a via path. So that's why 2, 1, this entry is 1. So you can reach from vertex number 2 to vertex number 1. That's why the entry is 1. Okay. Then 2 to 2, self-reachability I told, that was 1 for 1 to 1. So this is same logic can be applied here. So 2 to 2, it is 1 because you are at vertex number 2. So you are already reached there. So now 2, 3. So 2 to 3, yes, there is a direct path. So you can put 1 here. Then 2 to 4, 2 to 4 there is a direct path. So you can reach from 2 to 4. So that's why it is also 1. So now considering 3, 3, 1. 3 to 1, yes, you may go from 3 to 1, 3 to 2, 2 to 4, then 4 to 1. So anyhow you can reach from 3 to 1. So that's why this entry is 1. Then 3 to 2, 3 to 2 you can easily reach from 3 to 2. There is a direction, fine. Then 3 to 3, self-reachability. Then 3 to 4, yes, 3 to 4 you can reach. How? 3 to 2, 2 to 4. So this is a path which is formed using 3 to 2, then 2 to 4. So you can reach from 3 to 4 via 2. So that's why it is also 1. Then consider vertex number 4. So you are at vertex number 4. You can reach to 4 to 1, 4 to 3, 4 to 2 also via 3, 4 to 3, 3 to 2, and 4 to 4 also possible. So all entries are 1. So this is called the reachability matrix of this given graph G, which is a directed graph and which is nothing but the transitive closure of this directed graph. So this results is called the transitive closure version of the given directed graph G. So the reachability matrix which you have formed by considering is there any path existing in between a pair of vertices I and J. In that case you can put 1 here, otherwise you put 0. So this matrix is ultimately gives you the transitive closure version of this graph. Fine. So if you calculate the reachability matrix, which will be finally representing the transitive closure version of the graph. Fine. Now if you can calculate it, so now go to the definition of the transitive closure. I told when there is a path you can put entry 1, if there is no path you put 0. And path does not mean direct path, path may be the via path also. So anyhow the path should be there. If there is a path you can put 1 in the ith row jth column entry. That means if there is a path from I to j, then you put 1. So row is I, column is j, that's why I to j is 1 provided there is a path. Fine. So now, and also for self reachability it is also 1. So that's why the principal diagonal you see it is 1. Fine. 1 to 1 reachable, 2 to 2 reachable, 3 to 3 reachable, 4 to 4 also reachable. So now if you consider the definition of the transitive closure, so you have been given a directed graph G, which is already given here. There is a directed graph G consists of set of vertices and edges. So this is also given here. Given a directed graph G consists of set of vertices and edges with the vertex set V expressed as 1, 2, 3 up to n. That means vertex numbers are given as 1, 2, 3 up to n. So we might wish to determine whether G contains a path from I to J, because I told you have to verify whether there is a path from I to J. That means in a pair of vertex is there any path existing in between these two vertices. So contains a path from I to J for all vertex pair I comma J belongs to V. So you have to check for all vertex pair. That's why you have derived a reachability matrix where you are checking all vertex pair 1 to 1, 1 to 3, 2, 1 to 3, 1 to 4. This is from 1. Then 2 to 1, 2 to 2, 2 to 3, 2 to 4. This is from 2. That's why it is written as for all vertex pairs I comma J belongs to V. Fine. And we define the transitive closure of G as the graph G star, because I told if you have a graph that means you have an adjacency matrix of n cross n, where n is the total number of vertices and the transitive closure will also be n cross n. Fine. So that's why it is written as we define the transitive closure of the graph G as G star equals to V comma E star. That means in the transitive closure all vertices are present, but E star, That means where is star is I comma j such that there is a path from vertex I to j in G. So the transitive closure is defined in such a way you can put a entry 1 in the matrix which represents the transitive closure of the graph. The entry of the matrix will be either 1 or 0 provided there is a path, there is not a path. So that is given here. We define the transitive closure of G as the graph G star. So transitive closure is also another graph G star, V comma E star represented as where E star is I comma j, that means I to j, where there is a path from vertex I to j in G. Okay, fine. Now we must know what are the different ways to compute the transitive closure. Whatever I told, that is simply mathematical concepts. If the graph is given, you can easily calculate the transitive closure. Fine. Then you must know the algorithmic approach of the transitive closure calculation. That means you must know the ways to compute the transitive closure. So what are the different ways to compute the transitive closure? My advice to all students to visit or to go through the all pair shortest path algorithm, that is commonly known as the Floyd-Warshall algorithm, whenever you are going to study the transitive closure. That means you parallelly think of the formula of the Floyd-Warshall algorithm, or even what is the concept behind the Floyd-Warshall algorithm, because whenever I am going to discuss the way to compute the transitive closure, you will find out the application of the Floyd-Warshall's algorithm there. Actually, one way to compute the transitive closure of the graph G, suppose, where the graph consists of n number of vertices in big theta of n cube time, is to assign a weight of 1 to each of edge E and run the Floyd-Warshall algorithm. This is one approach. Again I am telling, one way to compute the transitive closure of a graph in big theta of n cube timings is to assign a weight 1 to each edge of E and run Floyd-Warshall algorithm. I know you know the formula of the Floyd-Warshall, how to calculate. It is basically minimum of d of ij comma d of ik plus d of kj. So either direct distance or the via distance, where k is the intermediate vertex and k starts from 1 if the vertex number starts from 1, and k takes all possible combinations of the vertices 1, 2, 3 up to n. Okay, that's why there are 3 consecutive loops. One is the outer loop that indicates the intermediate vertex, which is k. Under the loop, for each k value, you have to treat the entire matrix, that is I and j. That means I is the row and j is the column. I starts from 1 up to n, j starts from 1 up to n, and you know how to implement Floyd-Warshall, because in our class lecture of Floyd-Warshall, I have already uploaded the video in my YouTube channel for Floyd-Warshall. If you forgot it, you just go through it, because the formula is somehow required here. So if there is a path from vertex I to vertex j, we get d of ij, that is the distance from I to j, less than n. Otherwise, we get d of ij equals to infinity. This is the approach, or this is the way to compute the transitive closure of the graph used in big theta of n cube time using Floyd-Warshall. That means is to assign a weight of 1 for each edge of E and run Floyd-Warshall. Fine. So that is I have already noted here. Assign a weight of 1 to each edge of E, that means in the graph, and run Floyd-Warshall algorithm. So keep it in mind, here you are calculating the transitive closure. That means if there is there any path exist in between a vertex pair or not. We are not talking about the shortest distances. Be careful. Okay, if there is a path from I to j, we get d of ij less than n, otherwise d of ij equals to infinity. And the complexity, that is already verified as big theta of n cube. That means you can compute the transitive closure of a graph in big theta of n cube time. Okay, where you have to assign a weight of 1 to each edge of E and run Floyd-Warshall. This is one approach. But I will go for the second approach. And the second approach says, this is a similar way to compute the transitive closure of the graph G in the same timing, that means in big theta of n cube timing. That can save time and space in practice. Okay, that can save time and space in practice. But how is it possible? This method that means the second method. One is using Floyd-Warshall, and the second method substitutes the logical operations, logical OR and logical AND, for the arithmetic operations minimum and addition in the Floyd-Warshall algorithm. I told just before some time that the formula of Floyd-Warshall says minimum of d of ij comma d of ik plus d of kj. If you forget, you just recapitulate it. Minimum of d of ij comma d of ik plus d of kj. So there is an addition operator, d of ik plus d of kj. I to k plus k to j. Is it minimum or I to j is a minimum? That was the funda. So minimum is on one operation and second operation is the addition. So in the second method for transitive closure, this method substitutes the logical operations, logical OR and logical AND, for the arithmetic operations minimum and plus, that is addition, in the Floyd-Warshall algorithm. So once my lecture is over, that at the last I will definitely explain what is the benefit of using or applying logical OR or logical AND, that is replacing plus and that is replacing mean and plus in the Floyd-Warshall. And you know that for I, j and k, both the loops starts from 1 and repeats up to n. We define here some parameters to be 1 there if there exists a path in the graph from vertex I to j with all intermediate vertices and so forth, and we construct the transitive closure. Okay, how is it possible? How the recurrence relation is formed? Then I am coming. But be careful, here we are applying two very important logical operator. One is logical OR and second one is logical AND, that will substitute mean and plus in Floyd-Warshall. And how the recurrence is formed, just I am coming. It is a very simple method. This method substitutes the logical operation OR. This symbol implies OR, and this symbol implies AND. This type of notations you will find in any standard algorithms, some of the standard algorithms where you have to identify that this is OR, this is AND. Not always you will get the term OR, not always you will get the term AND. Some of the symbolic representation, V type, this is called OR, this is called AND. For arithmetic operations mean and plus in Floyd-Warshall algorithm. For I, j and k starts from 1 up to n, we define t of ij using k to be 1 if there exists a path in the graph G from I to j with all intermediate vertices in the set 1 up to k and 0 otherwise. So this t of ij using k is the entry of the transitive closure matrix. Okay, finally we will form a transitive closure matrix capital T, that I am coming later on, where the entries will be identified as t of ij, small t of ij. Okay, so I think you can recall the concept of d of ij using k in Floyd-Warshall. K is the intermediate vertex, like this. So for ij k from 1 to n, we define tij using k to be 1 if there exists a path in the graph G from I to j with all intermediate vertices in the set 1 up to k and 0 otherwise. And this will save time and space. How and why, if you know the explanations, then it will be more clear for you. Okay, so this is the concept. So now I am going to establish the recursive relation, recurrence and the recursive relation. So we conduct the transitive closure G star equals to V comma E star that I told by putting edge I comma j into E star if and only if Tij of n equals to 1. So the recursive definition of Tij using k is as follows. T of ij using 0, that means when you have not incorporated the value of k, it is like d0 initial matrix, then d1, d2, d3, d4 in the Floyd-Warshall algorithm, d0 to d1, d1 to d2, d2 to d3. It is like that. T0 use ij equals to 0 if I not equal j. Okay, vertex number I not equal vertex number j, and there is no edge from I to j. Fine. It is 1 if I equal j or I to j there is an edge. Okay, So that's why I told self-reachability, 1 to 1. Okay, this is one type of similarity you are getting somehow. Okay, so it is basically representing the initial matrix of the graph. Okay, I'm coming later on as an example. And for k greater or equals to 1, what is the definition? T of ij using k equals to T of ij using k minus 1. That I told in the Floyd-Warshall, whenever you are deriving d1, you are taking the help of d0. When you are defining d2, you are taking the help of d1, and so forth. So whenever you are calculating T of ij using k, you are taking the help of the previous table, that is T of ij using k minus 1 or logical or. Okay, T of ik using k minus 1 and T of kj using k minus 1. It is a similar type of formula, mean of d of ij comma d of ik plus d of kj, because plus is represented as and mean is represented as or. So this is like the formula of the Floyd-Warshall, but here we are replacing the or substituting or and by substituting or and, but that means logical or and logical and for the arithmetic operations in mean and plus in Floyd-Warshalls. So this type of formula. So follow it and apply it to calculate the transitive closure. Okay, again I am telling T of ij in the entry, and we will give the name of the matrix in capital T, like, okay, so where the entry is T of ij, 1 1 1 2 1 3, these are the entries. Okay, so now take this graph, 1 2, the same graph I am taking. So initially we will calculate T0, this one, the first one is used to calculate T0. Okay, it is T of ij, this is I row, this is j column. Okay, the value is 0 if I not equal j and there is not an edge from I to j. Okay, and value is 1 if I equal j or there is an edge from I to j. I am talking about edge now, and the later on I will talk about the path, and you will easily identify that you are dealing with the path. Okay, so now 1 1 I equal j, so I equal j, the value is 1. Whatever the condition be, it is an OR operation. Okay, so if the first one is true, the result is 1. If the first one is false, you go for the second one. If the second one is true, the result is again true. Okay, so I equal j, 1 1 I1 j1, I equal j, so entry is 1, fine. 1 2 I equal j false, or I comma j, is there any edge from 1 to 2? No. So come back to the second one, I not equal j, yes, 1 2 I not equal j, and I comma j, there is not an edge, I to j, there is not an edge, so the value is 0, fine. 1 3 I not equal j, and both the conditions should be true. Is there any edge from 1 to 3? There is no edge from 1 to 3. I am talking about the edge. There is no edge from 1 to 3. That's why it is 0. Okay. 1 4 I not equal j, and there is no edge from 1 to 4. So that's why it is 0. So now 2 to 1 I not equal j. I is 2, j is 1. And is there any edge from 2 to 1? 2 to 1 no edge. So it is 0. 2 to 2 I equal j. So whatever the second part is, you will put 1 here, because 2 to 2, is there any edge? We are not talking about. The first I equal j is true, fine. 2 to 3 I not equal j, and 2 to 3, is there any edge? 2 to 3, yes, there is an edge, fine. Okay, so second condition violates, though the first condition is true. You come to the second one. Okay, 2 equals 3, false, first one is false. Or 2 comma 3, 2 to 3, yes, 2 to 3, there is an edge. So one condition false, one condition true. Ultimately it is an OR operation, the result is true, so the value is 1. In the first case, 2 not equal 3 is true, but 2 to 3 there is an edge, so the second condition is false. First one true, second one false, it is an AND operation, so result is false. So you are not sticking to the first one, you have to come to the second one for verification. Fine. So in that way, 2 to 4, I not equal j, and 2 to 4 there is an age, so this definition is false. Come back here. So 2 to 4 is false, but 2 to 4 there is an age, so you can put 1 here. So in that way you can form the T0. So using T0 you can form T1. So k starts from 1. So ultimately you will form T1, you will form T1, T2, T3 and T4. So T4 will be the final matrix. T1, T2, T3, T4. T0 will help to derive T1, T1 to T2, T2 to T3, T3 to T4. In that way you can go further. So now you have to follow this definition. So put k equals to 1. I am going in detail. Later on you can find out some shortcut. Okay, first row first column unchanged, or second row second column unchanged, whatever it is, that you will find out in detail. But let me explain the formula. One table, let me derive it. Then you can find out the significant changes. So T of ij using k equals to 1. So ultimately the matrix will be T1. So this one indicates k is the intermediate vertex and the k value is 1. Okay. T of ij using k minus 1. So whenever you are calculating 1, 1. Okay, 1, 1 using 1 as an intermediate. Then 1 to 1 using 0. So take the value of 1, 1 from T0. Or 1 to k, that means 1 to 1 again, that is 1, and k to j, that is again 1 to 1, that is k minus 1, so 1 minus 1 again it is 0, so ultimately we will get here it is 0. Okay, so randomly you can check on 1 to 2, 1, 2, I is 1, j is 2, so k is 1. So 1 to 2, 1 to 2 using 1. So 1 to 2 using 0, 1 to 2 using 0 is 0 here. Or 1 to 2 using 1. So 1 to 1 using 0, that is 1. And 2 to 2, okay, I to k, k to j. Okay. And 1 to, you are going to calculate 1 to 2. Fine, using 1 as an intermediate. So basically it is 1 to, yes, 1 to 1. Again it is 1 to 2. Fine, 1 to 1 it is 1. And again 1 to 2 it is 0. So 1 and 0 is 0. But here it is 1 to 1, I to j, that means 1 to 2. It was also 0 using the previous value, so ultimately we'll get 0 here. Okay, so one calculation, if I calculate here, that would be more clear. So take this value. Okay, how does it is coming? It is basically T1 of row number 2, column number 2. Okay, better to check this one. Row 2, column 3. So ultimately you are calculating 2, 3 using 1 as an intermediate. Okay, so what is the formula? You write T of 1, T of ij, this is I, this is j, T of ij 2, 3 using k minus 1, this is k, so k minus 1 is 0. Or take the second one, T of ik, I is 2, T of ik, I is 2, k is 1, okay, 2 to 1 using 0, and T of kj, T of kj means k is 1 and j is 3 using k minus 1. Okay, fine. 2 to 1, 1 to 3. Fine. So what is the value? T of 2, 3, T of 2, 3, this one, 2 to 3, T of 2, 3 using 0. So it is 1. So write the value here. So this one is 1. Fine, 1, or what is the value? T0 of 2, 1, T0 of 2, 1 is 0. So write 0 here. and so whatever value comes, it will be 0 finally. T of 1 3, well, T0 of 1 3, 2 2 1 2 2, sorry, am I writing 2 2 1, yes, and 1 2 3 1 2 3, it is also 0. So ultimately 0 and 0 is 0, so 1 or 0 is finally 1, so this is 1. Okay, so in this way you can calculate. So from T1 you can derive T2, from T2 you can derive T3, and I have marked where the significant changes are found. Okay, you will just put the formula and find out the result. But at the beginning of the lecture I told you how to calculate the transitive closure. It is just for understanding the algorithm. Okay, so you can easily calculate the transitive closure if you calculate the reachability matrix, and I hope that all of the students after getting the first part of the lecture will never come for this type of calculations, even if they want to go in detail of the algorithm also. Okay, so this is like this is the recurrence. You can calculate T0 from the definition, then you can put the formula here, that is the recurrence relation, and to calculate T1, then T1 will help to calculate T2. So just for curiosity you can calculate this cell. So it is I, it is J, so actually you are calculating T2 of 3 4. So let me calculate. I am calculating T2 of 3 to 4. So here it is T2 of, so T2 of 3 to 4 means from the formula T34 Ij using T1 or I to k, that is 3 to 2, because k is 2 here, using k minus 1, that is using 1, and k to j, that is 2 to 4, k to j using k minus 1. Okay, so what about T1 of 3 4? T1 of 3 4, it was 1. Okay, I'm sorry, very sorry. T1 of 3 4, it was 0. Okay, 0 or T1 of 3 2. T1 of 3 2, it is 1, and T1 of 2 4. T1 of 2 4, it is also 1. So it is basically 0 or 1, and 1 is 1. So 0 or 1 means 1. So that's why you get the calculation here 1. So from T2 you can derive T3, and from T3 you can derive T4. So final T4 is the transitive closure of the graph G. Okay, so it is quite similar as the Floyd-Warshall's formula. So now come to the algorithm. If you can remember the formula or the recurrence of this one, so you can easily write the algorithm. Transitive closure of the graph G. Method is transitive closure. First of all, you have to calculate the number of vertices in the graph. So n is the total number of vertices, is equals to modulus of G dot V. Total number of vertices is n. If the graph consists of 4 vertices, so n is 4. So let T0 equals to Tij using 0 be a new n cross n matrix. So this is like this T0 we are talking about, where the entry of T0 is small t of ij. Okay, so how to calculate T0? I told the formula of T0 is this one. If there is if two vertices are not equal, that means I not equal j, and there is not an edge, then put 0. If I equal j or there is an edge from I to j, then it is 1. So it is the same formula for I equals to 1 to n, j equals to 1 to n, because you are talking about n cross n matrix. So write the formula. If I equal j, this is written, if I equal j, or I to j there is an edge, I comma j belongs to g dot e. Okay, fine. Then t of ij using 0, that means no intermediate vertex chosen, is equals to 1. So this is from the formula. Otherwise it is 0, else it is 0. Fine. The first part is over, T0 gone. The second one is very simple. You have to implement the formula. Then recapitulate again Floyd-Warshall K, I and J. So the same type of formula is written, K equals to 1 to N. For each K you are checking. So let T, capital T of K equals to Tij using K be a new N cross N matrix. So that is T1, then T2, T3 and T4 using K as the value. Okay. For I equals to 1 to N, it is nested under that. So for each K value you are taking the matrix and calculating the intermediate values. So for J equals to 1 to N, then the formula is very simple that you have already expressed here. So this type of formula you are going to implement. So T of Ij using K equals to T of Ij using K minus 1 or T of Ik using K minus 1 and T of Kj using K minus 1. Done. So all loops are completed here. So 13th step is the separate step. So return T of N. T of N that I told you. So you had 4 vertices in the graph. So apart from T0, you have calculated T1, T2, T3 and T4 because I told you have to calculate total 4 steps. T0 is the first one, T1, T2, T3, T4 because the value of K starts from 1 and repeat up to N where N is the total number of vertices in the graph. Here it is 4. So T1, T2, T3 and T4. Final T4 means T of N is the final transitive closure. So that's why it is written as return T of N. And from this calculation it is very simple. All loops iterate n time, outer N, first inner N, second innermost is also N. So definitely is theta of N cube is the time requirement. Then the question comes to your mind that you have already mentioned that it can save the time and space in practice though the complexity is big theta of N cube. So how is it possible? So on some computers, though logical operations on single bit values execute faster than arithmetic operations on integer words of data. Moreover, because the direct transitive closure algorithm uses only Boolean values rather than integer values, its space requirement is less than Floyd-Warshall algorithm. So this is the logic. Okay, some computers, though logical operations on single bit values execute faster than arithmetic operations on integer words of data. So this is the logic behind the time and space the logic behind by which you can save the time and space in practice. So normally, again I am telling some computers, though logical operations on single bit values execute faster than arithmetic operations on integer words of data. So moreover, because the direct transitive closure algorithm uses only the Boolean values rather than integer values, its space requirement is less than Floyd-Warshall algorithms. And if you can go through again detailed analysis, you will easily identify that it is less than the Floyd-Warshall algorithm by a factor corresponding to the size of the word of the computer storage. That is also mentioned. So from this discussion, it is clear that you can now compute the transitive closure version, though it is a detailed approach of the transitive closure, but I know that you will definitely follow the first one. You will calculate the reachability matrix and ready to give the answer. This is the answer of the transitive closure. But my request is to go to the ways to compute transitive closure at least once, so that you can identify or even know what is the logic behind to compute the transitive closure. So my advice is to go to the algorithms also. So though it looks lengthy, but I hope that if you go for solving the Floyd-Warshall by applying some shortcut, which row and which column needs not to be changed for every computations. So same type of logic you can easily identify. I am not disclosing here, but if you can understand the Floyd-Warshall, the shortcut logic, etc., then you can also find out the shortcut of the calculation of the transitive closure from the algorithm points of view. But if it is MCQ type, the graph is given and you are supposed to calculate the transitive closure, so definitely my advice is to go to the reachability matrix formation and finally return the transitive closure. Thank you.